Hey y'all, I'm Fran with the developer relations team here at WP Engine. And in today's video, I'm super stoked because I'm going to go over with y'all understanding WP Engine's Smart Search AI Model Context Protocol, or MCP, server for short. So let's dive right in, shall we? Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, y'all, let's go up a little bit about a 5,000 foot level and look at this and say, what is MCP and how does it work? So MCP is a standardized communication protocol, and it connects AI models to live external data sources and tools. So while large language models like ChatGPT are incredibly intelligent, their knowledge is limited to their training data, and it's frozen in time, meaning they can't access real-time or specific niche data. So by itself, it doesn't know about your company's latest product specs, or the current stock price, or the content of a blog post you published this morning. MCP is the bridge that closes this gap between the AI's static knowledge and the dynamic real-time world. So to understand this, I made this image for you, and actually AI made this image. So let's take a look at it. Understanding this role, so think of MCP as the USB, the universal serial bus for AI. So before USB, connecting printers, mouses, or keyboards to a computer required a whole confusing array of ports and custom drivers, right? This is how MCP addresses a similar problem in the AI ecosystem. Without a standard connecting an AI to every single website, database, or internal API, it would require running custom one-off integrations and a complex and efficient process. And that's what MCP provides. It's that universal standard, right? It defines that set of simple, predictable rules and commands, allowing any AI model to seamlessly plug into, if you will, any MCP-compliant data source. So the AI doesn't need to know the complex inner workings of your website database. It just needs to know how to speak MCP. So through this protocol, as you can see, the AI can effectively issue standardized requests like search your knowledge base for this term, or fetch the contents of this specific page. In essence, MCP transforms a static encyclopedia AI into a dynamic, context-aware agent capable of accessing and reasoning about your current content. Now, let's go over the way the Smart Search AI MCP server works. Now, with that, when you enable Smart Search AI and buy the WP Engine AI Toolkit, you will have an MCP server endpoint. And if this is disabled by default, it requires your user to opt in, and this will expose fetch and search tools that allow external AI models to interact with a website's public published content. Now, you might be asking, well, Fran, why should we use this? Well, the primary benefit of using it is that it allows devs to connect external AI agents like Claude, ChatGPT directly to your website's live content and search. So you can build advanced AI apps such as custom chatbots or assistants, and they're grounded in real time. And the accurate information from your site feeds into them and is indexed instead of the generic, often outdated data the models were trained on. So let's go over this workflow here in steps. So here's what happens. Number one, say a question is asked. A user interacts with an AI application like a custom chatbot built with Claude or ChatGPT, for example. Step two, the AI needs more info. So the AI model realizes it needs current info to answer the question accurately. It sees that it has access to an MCP server that offers tools for accessing your website's data. Now, number three, step three, the AI model then sends a network request. Now, step three, the AI model sends a network request to your website's unique MCP server address. For example, it might ask your server to search for information about AI Toolkit. Step four, the MCP server receives this request, uses the Smart Search AI vector database to find the most relevant content on your website, and then sends the info back to the AI model. Now, step five, and lastly, the AI model now has the fresh, accurate content from your site. uses this information to formulate a relevant, up-to-date answer for the user. So to sum it all up, the MCP server allows AI apps to be powered by the real-time accurate info from your website's semantic search and your vector database rather than the stale scraped data that an LLM would otherwise be limited to. This turns your site into a live dynamic knowledge base for any AI agent you connect it to. So let's go over testing the Smart Search AI MCP. Okay, really quick, we're going to get our MCP server running, and I'm going to show you really quick how to do this. So I'm in my WP Engine user portal, and I've already accessed and provisioned a Smart Search AI and WP Engine AI Toolkit account. So I'm going to go to my sites here. And I know one site that already has one. We're going to do this one, Smart Cache. So I'm going to click into the WP Admin button, which will take me over to my WP Admin. And now that I'm in my WP Admin, I'm going to go over to the hamburger menu here where it says WP Engine AI Toolkit. I'll go to Smart Search, and this is where I can grab the plugin credentials. Right here, I have my GraphQL endpoint. The Smart Search API is written in GraphQL due to the declarative way the language is written, and you essentially get back what you ask for. So with that being said, in the future, there's going to be a field here with your MCP endpoint, but currently when you add MCP and opt-in, all you have to do is take out the /GraphQL and then just append MCP. Now, I've already done this, and then I'm going to go to my Postman to show you how you can test it. So let's go over to Postman. I've already added the MCP endpoint in here. Now, once you're in Postman doing this from scratch, if you hit the new button on the top by my workspace in Postman on the left hand where my pointer is, now Postman has an MCP option. So when I click on that, it allows you to configure what you have. In this case, I have an HTTP request that I want over the MCP endpoint. Once I hit connect, it'll look like this, which I've already done right here. So my server is running and connected. And this is where it begins. Once it's connected, the MCP server advertises the tools it makes available. In this case, fetch and search. Now, these tools are the specific functions or actions, if you will, that the AI is allowed to perform. Think of them as API endpoints, but for an AI, okay? So with fetch, it's basically fetch, right? You can grab a specific post by its ID from the search index, and it's a specific tool that requires a unique ID to retrieve the single piece of content you want. And then I was playing around with search earlier, and search is more of the natural language vibe for AI. So it's basically you can search for information in the connected search index, and you have to refine the search query as much as possible. So it's more flexible, designed to query the data with the natural language keywords. So this is the fundamental discovery phase, right, if you will, to MCP. The client, and by extension the AI, doesn't need prior knowledge of what the server can do. The server announces its own capabilities in this case. Okay, now let's try interacting with the tool. Now that we know what's available, we can send a message to use one of them. So MCP messages are typically formatted in JSON, specifying the tool underscore name to use and the arguments it requires. So let's test the search tool for this example. I'm just going to use the filter string input, which accepts freeform text. And let me, I was trying violence, but let me try webinar. And then let's hit run. Awesome. So this JSON object explicitly tells the MCP server right here that please use your search tool and give it a query with the value webinar. And then down here, here's the response. And after we send the request, we get this response back, and the shape that comes back is a stringified JSON blob with a results array. I parsed it and put it in a code block to make it more readable for this example, but right down here, it's a content item, and it has a type text and a text payload that is an object containing a results array. And each entry in results is a document with 4 core fields, which is ID, title, text, and URL, as you can see here. And it's basically showing the webinar TV, which matches the natural language query. Here's the URL and the post ID. Stoked, it works. So the envelope makes it easy to stream or combine multiple output parts, while the inner results objects can be extended. So you can add score, cite, or publish _ without changing the outer shape. Just a note to remember, you can use whatever HTTP client or MCP inspector you like. There's a few out there. And I just chose Postman because obviously I like it and it's pretty easy to use. The other thing to note is that your search queries and index in natural language with AI, it's only as good as your WordPress data. So just FYI, keep in mind, whatever you're putting in as your WordPress data and WordPress content, that's what the AI is going to feed off of, and it's only as good as that. So the next thing I want to show you is how to connect Smart Search AI MCP directly into your AI model. Now you can expose Smart Search AI to any AI assistant by running it as an MCP server and plugging it in through a connector. Now in this example, I'm here on my Claude desktop, and we'll use Claude. We need to register the same endpoint using their MCP client config. So once connected, the model can discover Smart Search AI's declared tools via MCP's tool listing protocol and call them with structured arguments, no bespoke SDK required. So functionally, wiring Smart Search AI through MCP upgrades your assistant from best effort guessing to retrieval augmented answers that are precise, and you can audit them, and it's policy aware. So let me show you how this workflow goes here in Claude. So I click on Search and Tools, and then I go down to Add Connectors. And once I am in this Connectors page, you can add a custom one. Now, all I need to do is type in what I'm going to name the connector. In this case, let's name it ACF Knowledge Base MCP for Advanced Custom Fields. And then just pop in your endpoint, your MCP endpoint, hit Add. And once that's done, we're going to configure this on the right-hand side on the Configure button, and we're going to have the Always Allow, Fetch, and Search tools, which is exposes, which we saw in Postman. We're going to click on New Chat, and then once you click on the selector panel there in the drop-down, it'll show that now Claude has access to your Smart Search AI MCP server. Awesome. All right then, guys, it's the end of the video, and in conclusion, I just want to say that the journey from a static web page to an interactive, intelligent resource is the next great leap in the digital experiences and this world, right? Because we've seen how the MCP acts as a connector, and it bridges the gap between AI and the real-time valuable content on your site. So when this protocol is combined with the semantic power of WP Engine's Smart Search AI, your WordPress site is no longer just a destination for users. It becomes a dynamic data source that any AI agent can consult and consume. So providing these tools to integrate your content with the world's most advanced AI models, we here at WP Engine are putting you at the forefront of this new AI age. So enable the Smart Search AI MCP server on your WP Engine plan and get the power of AI in WordPress. So if you've already done so and need a how-to guide, I'm going to leave in the video description an article on that topic. Until next time, happy coding.